Okay, imagine this for a second. You've just landed the top job at this huge organization. Dream come true, right? Well, there's a catch. A big one. The members, the very people you're supposed to lead, have completely lost faith in the leadership. This is a story about that exact situation. A massive crisis of trust, and one leader's incredible mission to rebuild it, literally from the ground up.
So the leader at the center of all this is Kevin Sears, president of the National Association of Realtors. As his really turbulent term came to an end, he wanted one single powerful message to cut through all the noise. Just 4 words: we are pro-consumer. Now, on the surface, that sounds pretty simple, right? But the real question is, what made that statement so important?
Yeah, exactly. Why did a simple message like that need to be shouted from the rooftops? What was going on behind the scenes that turned this basic idea into a desperate rallying cry for the whole organization?
To figure that out, we first have to look at what Sears wanted the conversation to be about. He was trying to focus on the incredible, positive work that the members were doing every single day in their own communities.
And this wasn't just some vague feeling he had. There's powerful data here. A staggering 70% of the organization's members actively volunteer in their communities. We're not just talking about business here. This is about being good neighbors, about building up the places they live. And that was the positive story Sears felt was getting completely lost in all the drama.
And this really shows you the core disconnect. You had all this turmoil happening at the leadership level, but the members on the ground, they were just focused on serving their clients and trying to navigate a pretty complex market. Their number one priority was, and always had been, the consumer.
To really get the full picture, we need to hit rewind and go back to the moment Sears actually stepped into the job. Because he wasn't just taking on a new role, he was inheriting a full-blown crisis.
The organization was absolutely reeling. We're talking about its CEO and 2 presidents all leaving early in a very short amount of time. Then you add in these serious allegations of a toxic culture at the top, and what was the result? Widespread, deep skepticism from the very people leadership was supposed to be serving. Sears himself summed up the massive task in front of him with just 5 simple words. It wasn't about policy or strategy, not at first. The fundamental problem was a complete and total breakdown of trust. He had to earn it all back. So how do you fix a problem that big? Sears' answer wasn't some fancy memo or a press release. It was to get in a car, get on a plane, and just show up, over and over and over again. It turned into this relentless, almost unbelievable campaign of just being physically present.
The scale of this whole effort is kind of hard to wrap your head around. In a single year, Sears spent 258 days on the road. That's over 70% of the entire year away from home, dedicated to being face-to-face with members.
And during that time, he logged 162,000 miles. That's just an incredible distance. It's a testament to the sheer scale of his effort to be there in person and just listen to what people had to say from every part of the country.
He went to nearly every corner of the country, visiting 47 states and meeting with an estimated 37,700 members. You see, this wasn't about broadcasting a message from headquarters. It was about building connections, one handshake at a time.
To put that travel into perspective for you, 162,000 miles is the same as circling the entire planet 6.5 times. So, when he said his response was to show up, he meant it in the most literal and exhaustive way possible.
So, after all that travel, after all those conversations, what happens next? Well, as Sears was getting ready to end his term, his final message wasn't about his own journey. It was about the organization's future.
See, this whole effort wasn't just for show. It was all meant to lay the groundwork for real, structural change. A new 3-year strategic plan was put to a vote, and it represented a tangible path forward that was built directly on all the feedback he'd been gathering.
And this was his final charge to the members. It wasn't him declaring mission accomplished. Instead, it was a call to action. He urged them to take ownership, to make sure the new plan was actually implemented, and to hold all future leaders accountable. He was pretty much handing the power right back to them.
And that leaves us with a question that goes way beyond this one organization. In an age of endless digital communication, when does the simple, grueling, and profoundly human act of just showing up become the most powerful strategy a leader can possibly use?